Welcome to a live CK podcast here on the Basketball Zone YouTube channel. We got a special guest, my brother from another mother. Kenyon's back. We're both back, and we're breaking down the Raptors' first 5 games, the Kings' first 5 games, and of course, Kevin Durant, the superstar of the offseason, always gives us something to talk about, even when the season is dead. And right now, it's been very slow. But my man KD, love him or hate him, he gives us something to talk about. And today, finally, the saga ends as I said it would have. Like, that was always the best choice for him, in my opinion. He can now settle down, think about basketball, try and buy in, because if Ben Simmons is at his highest peak and Kyrie is at his highest peak, this team's a contender without question. Especially because they got guys like Royce O'Neal. Like, they got better this summer. So if they do buy in, man, the Nets are a dangerous team. I don't care what nobody says. Like, those two guys are Showtime box office. And you had a guy like Ben Simmons, one of the best defenders in the world and one of the best gifted passers in the world. I think that's a really good team, man. Your thoughts on that?
So I'll push back a little bit. Royce O'Neal, I don't think that they should have given up a first-round pick for him. He's actually been on a little bit of a decline for the past 2-3 years.
But he's added wing depth, though.
He is. I'm curious to see what TJ Warren, Bubble Warren, is going to look like. He is
another guy.
It could be good, it could be bad, but that situation I still see as volatile. I think that, honestly speaking, there was a market correction from where the Nets thought the market would be and what the Nets found out the market is. And so I always said that this correction was going to happen. I was hoping that it would happen with KD on a different team, but it is happening.
I don't think they ever had intentions to trade him. They just gave out these ludicrous offers and they're like, oh, well, we try to trade you, bro. Like, no, like, it was always intended to be like, let's run it back one more time. You're under contract. We give you what you want. And we gave you a little psycho crazy kid and Kyrie. We gave you DJ at $40 million when he wasn't worth maybe like $1 million. So,
and getting rid of Jared Allen, I might add.
Exactly. So they gave him everything he wants. Then he was throwing a little tantrum that he don't want to be there. Like, no, bro. Like, you chose this team. You wanted this. I gave it to you. Be quiet and just shut up and play. And I say that in like a good way, not like the get to work type. But they're like, no, like, dude, like, you wanted this team. Now at least run it back one more time. The offers were never realistic, and that's why they try to tell him that. And I think it's going to work out for them. To me, if they're healthy, obviously we can say that about a lot of teams. They're like, oh, if this team's healthy,
everyone to show up on that team. I will agree that if everyone shows up consistently, everyone is truly bought in. Right. It is the best basketball situation for him. It is the best for his legacy.
100%.
But I wouldn't bet on it.
Right. But we have to be realistic and be like, if they do show up, that's a hell of a team. Yeah. Like that's a really good, because Ben Simmons fits better than James Harden, and he shores up so many deficiencies that team has: rebounding, passing, defense. Like, they needed all of that against the Celtics, and guess what? Like, they didn't have it. So that is that. Then in other news as well, we got the Lakers eyeing Dennis Schroeder, and I thought this was funny. The Lakers are interested in Donovan Mitchell. That ain't happening unless the Jazz are like, we'll take on Russell Westbrook, we'll cut him, and then we're going full tank for the big man out of France. You know what I'm saying? But like, I would still not do it, because those picks are going to be super high, and like, Mitchell makes the Lakers contenders too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, it's crazy. Like, I wouldn't do that if I'm the Jazz, and like, give your fellow, conference rival an actual shot to win the championship. Like that, like, I would hate that.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing too is that, do they really want the Lakers picks when,
exactly, for example,
Knicks, I believe, have some of OKC's picks? I'd rather have those OKC picks. That's just me.
No doubt. Okay, well, without further ado, let's get to the Raptors' first game, man. Wednesday, October 19th, my brother's birthday. Shout out to him, and that's going to be a special night because everybody playing that night, and it's going to be an emotional night in Toronto. Cavs Raptors. We got two of the best young players in the NBA going at it. This is a primetime game, and it should have been televised, honestly. Evan Mobley versus Scottie Barnes. Your thoughts? Will they win or lose this game?
Oh, they're going to win.
Okay. I agree. I agree.
Scottie has been showing that he is hungry. Have you not seen
Yeah.
the videos of him and the Rico Hines? Forget about whether
I told you you'll love Rico Hines, man. Rico Hines been with the Kings for a long time, and Rico Hines is legit.
And he's been working with Siakam for years
Forever.
too.
Yep, that's his guy.
Scottie Barnes looks like he has been lifting more than weights,
Right.
like houses. So he looks ready. He looks like the big boy in the gym, big man in the gym. And
Right.
So yeah.
And talking about that, I don't know if you caught the article from Raptors Republic, which was titled "What Will the Toronto Raptors Look Like as Scottie Barnes' Team?" Obviously, I'd recommend people to read that. Trying to simplify the whole thing and give you my opinion is that needs to happen now. I know people want to push back on that and be like, well, he's entering the second year. He has to earn this. He has to earn that. But I'm like, if you want to benefit the Raptors long-term of future, to me, this needs to be the year where you pretty much tell them and tell the whole team, like, I'm building around Scottie Barnes. And I love Siakam, and there's still a lot of hopefuls that even Siakam could take the next step. That's fine. I feel like you can take the next step while still, taking that Luka Doncic approach where we're going to trade Dennis Smith Jr. no matter what. One, because he's trash, but two, because, Luka is like the man. You know what I'm saying? So, the Raptors need to embrace that and be like, Scottie is the man. So, and we're going to build around him. That's my opinion. Yeah. I know a lot of people are going to push back on it, but that's how I would build this.
So this is where Robert and I disagree at times, and I think he's come around a little bit. Is I've said since last year, it's going to take 2 years to get you where Scottie Barnes is where he wants to be and is where he needs to be. For example, I said it's going to take him 2 years to shoot, and we laughed and all that kind of stuff. But the reason why I say is that even if he is shooting, even if he is getting those skills, it takes guys 6 months to a year to get that respect, right? To get that respect from your peers. So that's the way that I look at it. I do think that they're going to slowly. It's a philosophy thing, right? Mm-hmm. But I think it's better to slowly bring a guy on and give him more and more. And Scottie Barnes is the type of person where you see him in a game, he learns in a game so quickly. So for me, I would just give him more and more and see where that limit is. But you don't start up here, you start midway. So he's going to get more usage, more ball handling duties, no doubt about that. I think it's just by the end of the year, that's where the debate's going to go.
So my problem with that is that sometimes we want to allocate certain, usage and minutes to players, and I feel like when you don't prioritize, and just playing basketball myself, it's like when you don't actually define roles and tell people this is the guy, we're following as he goes. I think there's issues with that, and sometimes guys' egos get in the way. And Scottie don't have an ego. Scottie's the best teammate.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. Is
he has no ego. If
anyone can make it work, it's Scottie Barnes.
But last year he scored so many points off of just hustle, grit, determination. That's all fine and you're always going to get that. So why not, highlight him, feature him. Yeah. As that, and that's what I'm saying. From a coaching perspective, there needs to be boundaries and role definitions, and that's all I want. Because sometimes guys like Gary Trent, who is the complete opposite in terms of selfish, wants to chuck up shots, he gonna be like, well, if the coach says we can all shoot the ball, guess what? And guys take advantage of those things, and that's why I want his role to be defined, and for the Raptors to come on and be like, this is my guy. This is that's what I want. I mean, that's my perspective.
I agree, and I think that there will be a defined role, but I think the thing is that him and Siakam are going to be 1A, 1B. Siakam's just more experienced right now, but he's going to be okay. I look at offense differently, and I don't want to go because we
Right.
don't have the time to go down it. But I look at offense and roles a bit differently than most people. I think
Okay.
Scottie and Siakam are your initiators on offense. They're not necessarily going to be your play finishers, but they're going to initiate a lot of the offense. And I would do let's say a 60-40 split out. Then you taper it down for Siakam. I don't think that Siakam is selfish either, and I don't think he's going to mind. And I don't think he's going to care about the rest because everyone talked about Fred VanVleet playing all these minutes, doing all these things. And guess what? Siakam played the same amount of minutes as Fred. So that's just the way that I look at it. And this team is hungry. This team is unselfish. So I would do 1A, 1B, Fred, Scottie,
Okay.
and go from there. Yeah.
But define that role to like guys like Freddie, guys like Gary,
Yeah.
and I think that's the next step, right? Where that's fine. Like if he's 1B, I'm okay with that. But don't make him like the third, fourth guy because there are guys like Gary who are selfish. I'm split between Freddie. Sometimes he's selfish, sometimes he's not. Then we got the big elephant in the room, and that's OG, a guy that needs more touches, a guy that's shown that he can score 20 points a night. Like, how is
I'll give
Nick
you a hot
Nurse?
take and a simple solution.
Go ahead.
Trent on the bench.
Oh, I love that. I've been saying that for a long time. He's literally a sixth man.
I've been saying it too.
Yeah, he's a sixth man.
Shout out to James because James and I have been talking about this for a long time as well. But,
Right.
Without going through the whole thing, I think you can sell it to him. Look, you're going to get paid no matter what. You have a skill set that's going to get you paid no matter what. So look, I know we can't officially do an extension right now, but no matter what, you will get paid if you want to be on this team. Why not? Let's make it a goal. Let's get you an accolade. Let's get you sixth man of the year. Let's make you first option on the bench. You can get way more shots. You can get way more usage. You can develop your game way more on the bench. You can get the same amount of minutes, so you can still play 30 minutes a game, but it's on the bench. So yeah.
And
no,
played.
this guy keeps talking about OG for every single time.
And,
you guys are not getting OG.
And played Delanto Banton with Trent Jr. as the main facilitator off the bench. I like that pairing off the bench a lot. So that's what I think. And I agree. I'm going with the Raptors going 1-0 against the Cavs. It's going to be a game that comes down to the end. It's going to be a hell of a game. It's going to be a fun game. And I tell you what, this is the year where Garland takes another step, and that's scary because that mother hover is really good.
He's a nice game.
Yeah.
Really nice game.
Friday, October 21st, on the road, the Brooklyn Nets, they're going to be hungry. Whether we talk about if or not or all these what ifs, if they buy in, they'll buy in at least by game 1, game 2. Like everyone's excited. Like every game, every NBA, even Magic fans will be excited that day, right? Like it's one of those things where just like the opening of football, we all have hope until it dies a week later. You're like, ah, shit, this team sucks. But this game will be huge for the confidence of this team. Can they go into Brooklyn, shut them down, shut mouths up, and put them on? Essentially, the whole nation's going to be watching this game because they'll be interested to see what the Nets are going to do. Can the Raptors go in there and make a statement, Kenyon?
Well, first of all, the Nets are very lucky that this is not in Toronto because that vaccine mandate is still
exactly.
Right. I wish that was a storyline on the second day of the season because that would be great. Unfortunately, it's not. But the normal saying is if you can't beat them, join them. Well, I'm saying the other way. If they can't join you, then beat them.
Okay.
They're gonna beat them. I think that's look at the respect that Scottie Barnes gets from guys like Kevin Durant, from Steve Nash, from LeBron James, you name it. So I don't really see any reason why. I think that they're going to come off firing. And also, the Nets are a completely different team. They have a lot of new pieces that they're working in, including a major piece like Ben Simmons. He just started 3-on-3 contact, so we'll see how that goes. So I think that they're going to be shaky to start the season.
Okay. I agree with you. I'm going with the Raptors as well, going 2-0 because of those reasons where they still have to iron out some kinks. And who knows, maybe they start losing some games and there's a little bit of drama. And ultimately, talent always prevails. At least superstar type talent like KD, like Ben Simmons, like Kyrie prevails in the end. So they'll have a rough start. But, I don't think the game will be a blowout. It's going to come down to Scottie Barnes executing. Yes, I agree with that. So number 3 and 4. Weird ass schedule. How the hell they got Miami twice and the Sixers on back to back as well?
I love it.
I don't know why the NBA does this to the damn Raptors. I feel like they want to set them up to fail, especially because they will be in Miami, and guys love to party in Miami. And to me, they're gonna lose this game on the back to back. It's a tough trip. Miami is on top of it being difficult to play. Miami's pretty damn good themselves. Obviously, we got Larry there and that storyline still. Jimmy Butler with his, long hair and his crazy off season. I'm going with the Miami Heat winning this game.
Oh my goodness! I'm not gonna.
Yeah, that was crazy.
About extensions, man. Like, bro,
that's crazy. Come on.
Pump the brakes on that. Sorry. I'm sorry. Like, if you're
correct,
if you're Jimmy Butler, if you have that money, be confident in yourself. Be confident in your hair, man. You don't need extensions, my guy. I think they're gonna split the next two games with the Heat. I think that the Heat are primed to actually take a step back this year. They lost PJ Tucker, and they're older, and don't look now, but after, look up Jimmy Butler and how many games he's played over the past 5 seasons. It is not looking good. Next year, not this year, but next year, that contract is going to suck. So, yeah.
Okay. So you have him split. So you have him losing the back-to-back?
Yeah, I think actually I could see them coming out and winning the first game and ironically losing the second game because that's such a Raptors thing to do.
Okay. So I'm going to push back and say they lose both games here.
Okay.
I think the Heat will beat them because they'll be tired on Saturday. So on the back-to-back there. And then on Monday, I just feel like, yes, they're older, but the Miami Heat have a lot to prove this year, and they lost a guy like a PJ Tucker, but they also re-signed the guy, my guy Caleb, who's going to take on a bigger role. And I do see a bounce back year from a guy like Duncan Robinson, who's, again, he had a rough year last year, did not shoot the ball well. My guy Rob Fedor was not with them the whole year as far as like the shooting coach. I think that had a lot to do with it. So I think there's a bounce back, and they go 2-2. And
he
game
played
number
Celtics right before, just the same game.
That's true.
So that's a pretty physical game. They're both on a back-to-back. That's why I'm saying.
Do they play Celtics away or home?
Good question. I can't tell from Google, but
okay.
I know that they play the Celtics.
Okay, perfect. So I have them going 2-2, and then again another weird ass schedule. Sixers. On a home and home, that's going to be an interesting game because they did get PJ Tucker. James Harden took a little bit less money. Joel Embiid is coming off his best year ever. This team is motivated. Yep. Will this team make the move that I hope they make? Which again, right. So I just don't know if they'll make that move, but I feel like they're not done making moves this year. Like I really don't think they're done. But if this is the team that they show up with at home, obviously the whole playoff thing, there's going to be feelings in here. How Siakam, did Siakam break his nose or something like that?
Yeah, not on purpose. Yeah.
You're
also,
right.
They're from rival cities in Cameroon.
Yes,
and
they are.
Christian Koloko is from Pascal Siakam's home city. So
there you go. So this is a tough ass schedule. Let's be honest. This is like I'm schedule. Giving you like the best right off the bat and back to back. It'll be interesting, but I have the Raptors winning and responding from those 2 losses. So they'll go 3-2. And then I have them winning this game as well. So 4-2 against the Sixers.
They don't really lose to the Sixers in the regular season. If you look back over the past few years, we've kind of had the Sixers numbers in the regular season.
Right.
And apparently, other than last postseason, in the postseason. By the way, fun fact of the day: we've never lost to the Bucks in the postseason. So.
How many times though? Just once?
2 or 3 years in a row.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I wouldn't want to face them if they're healthy, though. That's the
No,
one
no,
team
no, no,
that's
absolutely
really
not.
good.
Like, it is what it is. I'm just saying,
Yeah,
the record
yeah,
is what the record is.
that is true. So, what do you have them going? Sixers.
Um, sorry, where do I have the Sixers going?
So do you have them beating the Sixers on
Oh yeah.
26th and 28th?
Like it sounds crazy, but I see them losing two of those first few games. But I really do see the Raptors have been, whether it's the Rico Hines runs or other things, they have been playing together this entire summer. Like they have been hungry. This is the first time Pascal Siakam has had an offseason off in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So they're hungry. They're all working together as a team. And so it's hard for me to kind of root against them, right? Because especially with the season, I think that they're going to come out firing on all cylinders. And I think a lot of other teams, especially the teams who have had lots of late playoff runs, lots of bumps and bruises, they're going to start off slowly. I mean, look at the Bulls. The Bulls are not going to be good to start the season because Lonzo Ball is not going to be there, right?
Okay, so you have them splitting the Sixers or winning both?
I think you could say split both of those games if you want, or if you're going to include the Atlanta game as your stopping point, then maybe they lose to Atlanta because Atlanta is going to, it's just a different team.
That's a whole different. That's a whole different. So let's add the Hawks to that. So right now I have the Sixers going 4-2. Walking into the Hawks game on that Monday, I think you do as well. We have different scenarios there, but both of us have them going 4-2 in the first 6 games, and then for the 7th game, we said 5, but we'll give y'all 7 just because they had the same team twice. So the Atlanta Hawks. Game number 7.
I mean, you're the one that scrolled, not me.
Yeah.
There's no bias here.
No. That's the game that I want to talk about, honestly, and I was going to end it there anyway. Very interesting offseason for the Hawks, right? Your thoughts on DeJounte Murray, specifically this offseason, man?
Is he okay? Like,
my boy's out here just bumping dudes like what are you doing?
He seems irked. Like, I just don't understand. Like, and he's talking about being humble, but then you have like 9 to 5 workers. He's just like, ooh,
right?
Like, shouldn't you be humble, my guy? Like,
yeah, I agree. But it's going to be a fun game, man, because that's a very different team. We don't know what to expect from that team, honestly. Like, it could be great, it could be a disaster. Like, we really don't know.
That's what I was
saying. No, for sure. I mean, they're a playoff team, but in terms of like,
not play in, playoff,
huh?
Not play in, playoff.
Oh, for sure. I mean, for sure, a playoff team. But will they reach the high? I mean, they're trying to get back to the Eastern Conference Finals. That's their goal, right? So, I mean, we don't know that. I wouldn't bet on that. Like, I agree with you, but at the same time, it's just such a wild card with like, DeJounte playing off the ball a little bit more now. The ball's on, but he has all the skill sets, all the characteristics to be a very complimentary off guard to a guy like Trae Young, because he's a great defender, he's a great cutter, he's a great mid-range shooter, not a good three-point shooter, he's a bad free throw shooter. But man, like, it's interesting, man. I think with a guy like Capella, like if they break off their first action, which could be like a pick and roll with Capella, then they could come back with the secondary pick and roll and go John Collins and Murray. Like, that's a very interesting team, man. Like, for real.
Very fun team. Very fun team.
So, I think the Raptors go 5-2. You can
chalk that up to a loss. Yeah, sure.
I think they'll win.
You think they'll win? Okay.
Yeah.
I can understand. You can argue it either way, but
it's tough. Perfect. So let's move on. So I got the Raptors going 5-2. And you have the Raptors going 5-3.
I'll match you. I'll say 5-2. I think that's fair.
Okay, 5-2. Let's go to the first game. Damian Dalla Lillard is walking into the Golden One Center on October 19th at 7 p.m. I'll be there covering this game. It's going to be this is the most anticipating, most exciting offseason, just the most pressure we've ever seen, especially because it's been 16 years of no playoffs. But this man, like, this is a man that I think most teams fear in the
I'm so
NBA.
sorry, man.
Like, everybody fears Damian Lillard. Like, this guy is prime time. He came off a lot of injuries last year. He's going to be fresh. He's going to be fresh and ready to go. It's going to be a very tough game. But I do think because of all the emotions and everything that we've seen this offseason, the togetherness, just like the Raptors, they've been together all year long working out. De'Aaron Fox just got married. He literally cut his honeymoon like 7 days short. He actually took one of the coaches with him to still train in his honeymoon. Like, I have never seen him this. No, he did, bro. Like, I've never seen him this dedicated in my life. So he is motivated. He's inspired, and yeah, it's a really nice thing to see, man. So I do think that it's a buzzer beater type win on opening night.
I'm not a Fox fan, but I do think that they'll win this game. Again, I think that they have some continuity going on. Continuity is something that's very underrated in the NBA.
Correct.
Especially if you have a halfway decent team. And so, yeah, I'm excited to see what the Kings look like. I do actually have them making the playoffs. Play in, I should say. But yes, I do have them making it. Sure.
It's funny because a little bit. Yeah, but like a lot of national heads are actually like, hey, like this team actually might be okay this year. And that's the first time the Kings have ever gotten any recognition before the year started, right? Sometimes they'll get off to a good start. You're like, oh, well, maybe. And then like, nah, it's the same old Kings. But I just feel like with a guy like Mike Brown, who commands a lot of respect league-wide. I mean, Mike Brown's beloved by everybody. I feel like he's been – I was just watching The Malice in the Palace yesterday with my wife and my kid. And that documentary in itself is just crazy how literally – a fan throwing a damn, bottle to Ron Artest derailed their whole year. Like, they could have won the championship that year, and they didn't because of that. Like Mike Brown was on that coaching staff, and I'm like, oh shit, that's Mike Brown. Like, he was stopping the fight, and it was crazy how long he's been doing this.
I remember when it first happened. I have to watch the documentary, but
it's really good.
I have them winning the first game, and again, just to double down with your chat. I don't care. I'm still not a Fox fan.
That's all good. He has to
prove me that he can do one of two things. He needs to play defense, and he needs to be able to shoot much better. I don't know if Robert said this exactly, but I'll say that this is my take. I see him kind of like a mini DeRozan, both in the good ways and in the bad ways.
I agree with that too.
But he needs to learn how to shoot, and he needs to play defense.
I do think he'll end up being a better three-point shooter than DeMar DeRozan. Like, just looking at his mechanics.
It's not that hard.
Right. I mean, you're right. Like facetiously speaking, like, yeah, that's funny, but like,
when you start on the bottom floor, you only go up from here. But funny. Yeah, no, all jokes aside, I agree, and I think he will have a good year. I'm excited to see what he does. He's young enough. I think he will do something. My thing is, I just think that they're a weird fit between him and Sabonis, but we could talk about that another day.
Right.
But we'll see. It could work, and I'm excited, and I do see them being better. So I am giving the Kings props.
That's good. So sure. Saturday, they have 3 days off here, or two days off. Nice. They're receiving the Clipper team, which they've had, lots of good battles with. They've beaten them at Staples, and the Clippers have beaten them at Golden One. I think they beat the Clippers as well. One, because I don't think Kawhi is 100%. Paul George is 100%, and he's looking great in those Rico Hine runs. But I don't know. Like the Clippers have a lot of hype behind them every single year. John Wall, this is a big prove-it year for him. What's he going to do? What's he going to look like? On paper, they have a good team, without question. But to me, it's going to take a little bit for them to really get on track. They have a phenomenal coach, but I do see the Kings starting off 2-0. What do you think happens here?
I think that they're going to lose that game, honestly. I think John Wall has a lot to prove. I think he's going to buy in because he just wants to play. He really wants to play so bad.
That's true.
And I also think that if you look at the other guys, like Kawhi is Kawhi. Like if he is healthy at any capacity, he's a robot.
Yeah.
He's a robot. He plays so much like what you would see in a textbook that it's almost boring to watch him play. So I would say that they're going to win. I don't think that they're going to be. They're going to have an up and down year because they're going to be injury prone. They're going to have problems. But, I do think for that second game, I do think that they're going to win.
That's fair. Okay, so you have them going 1-1. I have them going 2-0 away on a back-to-back against the Golden State Warriors. I do have the King losing this game. The Warriors, I don't know if. Well, no, the first game will probably be opening night, but this is always a hard game. Anytime you face this team, you're going to have issues. It's going to be fun to watch and see how they can match up with a team like this, but I do see them losing this game. Go ahead.
They have some decisions to make as a team. I'm really curious to see. I think that they're going to prioritize Wiggins.
Over who?
Keeping Poole long term. I know that. I believe they just gave Poole an extension. Yes,
they did.
Didn't they, or did they not? I have to double check.
I don't think they did, but I would.
So if they didn't, well, here's the reason why is because you're looking at competing now, and Poole still has a lot of work, and I think that the easy replacement to Poole long term is going to be Kuminga, which is just obvious, right? And I think Poole struggles to, initiate offense. So I think that Wiggins has earned his place on that team. But I think, sadly for the Kings, they are going to beat the Kings. Teams that just won the championship or who have just been there are usually super hungry. And again, to your, I'm not even going to try to pronounce this because I'm not sure if it's Spanish or not. But Fox, again, DeRozan was good at driving through the lane, still is. But the problem with Fox is he can't shoot. Never said he's not a team first guy. It just sucks with certain things. Play defense.
I can't say nothing to you because he has to prove it. Like I've seen him do it in small spurts, right? And I feel like it's gonna come together. But that may just be my optimistic, point of view. But until he
does
proves
one of those two things,
right, then he's a different player.
He's a different player. He is, and I looked at the stats. He is literally the first percentile defensive player in terms of impact, meaning he is the worst.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean the stats are against him.
You have to be better, right?
And Mike Brown's opening comments, literally the day he got hired in his press conference after the Warriors won the championship, he said, back when I think when he was scouting him or watching him play in high school, De'Aaron Fox was literally like the best defensive prospect in the nation. Like coming out of Houston, going into Kentucky.
I don't know, but
but he was just an animal defensively, and he talked about he needs that version back. And Fox was standing right there, and I was looking at them the whole time. I'm like, what's his body language like? And honestly, man, it's there. And that's what I always go back to. Yes, the stats are against him. Yes, he hasn't shown it consistently. But if there's a player that has the capabilities of being really good defensively, it's him because he has all the tools. Again, going back to Trae Young, he's not capable of being good because he's limited physically. Fox isn't.
The reason why I keep challenging...
Yeah, and that's fair.
That's fair. The reason why I do is because I'm looking... if I'm the Kings, sure, make the playoffs is great because you need to make the playoffs. I get it. But at the same time, I look beyond that, right? And if you're going to have a good showing and get beyond the playoffs, making the playoffs in the first year, great. But if you really want to start and build from there and have a chance at building, you need to look beyond that. So that's what I really want to see. I really want to see him do one of two things. Ideally, if it was me, if I were the coach, I would rather see him play defense rather than shooting. But both would make him and the Kings much more deadlier.
That's an interesting point. I don't know how I'm split. I can't even answer that. If they would say, Leo, what would you prefer? Him to be really good defensively or him to shoot the ball really well? Oh, I see both, the positives of both of what they can do for a team like the Kings. It's so tough. I really have to really sit on that one. So Thursday, the Memphis Grizzlies. This is just an internal rivalry already in terms of Fox against John Morant. they always say, "Oh, Fox wants to be with Ja Morant," and he's all these memes. I'm just like he's destroyed Ja Morant literally every single time. Like he is the one player that can literally guard him because they're so similar, and like he knows it's like he's guarding himself in so many ways. And Fox wakes up for that because he knows what people are saying, and that's the funny part. But if he can have that motivation for everybody, not just Ja, that's the guy that I'm like hoping that we see all year long. So I do have the Kings winning this game at home against the Grizzlies. So that would improve the team to 3-1, and you have them winning. So there'll be 2-2 for you. And the last game we'll go with Miami.
They'll beat the Hornets, so you know that.
Well, fuck, you never know. You never know, but yeah. So we'll go with that's tough. What do you think about the Heat? It depends, because like the Heat are going to get bruised by the Raptors.
Yeah, and the Celtics. The thing is that
I can see a win here too. Like I really can.
I don't think that they'll win this game. So again, on the season, I think that I have to like look at the chart of all the teams, but I think they'll be anywhere between that 7 to 9 range, right?
Yeah.
But I think for right here, I can see the Heat winning, especially if they've just had 2 tough potential losses, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
They might take that out on the Kings.
Yep.
The other thing too is that, no offense to the Western Conference teams, but Eastern Conference teams are as of late play a lot more grittier, grindier.
I agree.
Grimier. They really it's a more physical style of basketball, and the Kings don't strike me. I mean, like, no offense to Sabonis, but he's not like the most. He's a very skilled post player, but he's not like, he's
not a good defender
player in the same way. Yeah.
He's not a good defender. Okay, so you have him losing. I have him losing as well. So you have him going 2. You have him going 2-3, and I have him going 1, 2, 3.
Well, 3-3 if you add the Hornets. I'm giving you an extra game.
So 1, 2, 3. So 1, 2, 2-1, 3-1, 3. So I have him going 3-2, and you have him going 2-3. And then if you add the Hornets, you give them 3-3, and I feel like they'll lose this. So eventually we end up at the same spot. I do think they'll lose that first game on the road. I just from how I know the Kings, like they tend to lose that first game on the road all the time. So I have them going 3-2, and in the first 5, you have them going 2-3. That's okay, man. The Kings have to earn that respect. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to, man. Like, Kings fans can be hyped all they want. I'm not shocked by here. Like, I can see that happening. Like, I really can. Like, I can see them going 1-4. Like, anything can happen. I'm being optimistic, and I do think because it added a lot of shooting, right? Keegan Murray, Malik Monk, and Kevin Huerter. That's what they needed, guys, around guys like Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox, right? So if you have those types of guys around these two guys in the pick and roll, which is already by the numbers, they're already a top 3 tandem just in the pick and roll alone. So if you had shooting around those guys, top 3 just in the league, like efficiency wise, scoring wise, like they're deadly in the pick and roll, like without question.
Specifically in the pick and roll, or just
just in the pick and roll.
Right.
So
okay, fair enough.
That's what I think.
If you're gonna say in total, I was gonna.
No. I mean, there's more than just a pick and roll for duels, right? Like it's not just the pick and roll, but because both guys command so much gravity, like Fox being a downhill player.
Really sad about me. I'm not the one that controls the look, no hands. He's the one that won extra games. My God, you need to chill.
That's funny. My guy,
I wanted to give you more games. But yeah.
Hey, man, we're 40 minutes in, brother. That's enough for today. That's enough. But
I'm excited though. I'm excited for the Kings. So I'll say that as a non-Kings fan.
Right. So it's gonna be a fun time. We'll break down the next 5 and then the next 5 incrementally to go over these. We'll have some fun stuff like ranking big men, ranking shooting guards, trying to make up content before the main gritty part of the season, right? Like right now, it's still dead season. We're going to see a lot of reports. Oh, this guy looks good. This guy looks fat. This guy looks whatever. It's training camp. It's coming up. But right now, we just got to keep doing these little, slow, little fun videos, because when the season starts, it comes up too fast, right? And it's going to be all about consistency every single day for the Basketball Zone YouTube channel to keep on growing, for Raptor Nation, for Kings Nation. I want to focus on the Cavs this year because I really love, Evan Mobley. And honestly, the Pistons, I think they'll be bad, but there's a lot of hype. There's a lot of hype, surprisingly, behind that team. Like a lot.
Want a hot take?
Go ahead.
Keegan Murray for the Rookie of the Year.
No, I don't think that's a hot take. I mean, I think he's NBA ready. I don't think he'll win it, and that's me being honest. I think he's going to Apollo. Yeah. Banchero is just an animal. He's so good. He's so good. And I told you he's going to be that good, bro. I told you that.
In the long term, Keegan will not be the best prospect. He will be good. But this year, I think he will be.
That's fair.
He will win. Yeah.
All right, y'all. Thank you guys so much. And on behalf of the entire Basketball Zone family, we thank you guys, and we'll see you very, very soon. Peace.